Hello.
Usually stay in the street. Yeah, does that make sense?
We're about to reenact one of the most important trials in the history of St. Louis Old Courthouse. In 1873, in a room on the second floor of this building, Virginia Louisa Minor and her husband Francis sued to win the right to vote. The case began here in the old courthouse and finally was decided by the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court of the United States in Washington, D.C. The people who were a part of this trial will tell us what happened.
My name is Virginia Louisa Minor. I was born in the state of Virginia in the year 1824 and moved to St. Louis many years ago. I am now 49 years old. Several lawyers have been in my family, including my husband. A few years ago during the Civil War, I helped wounded soldiers by canning and bringing food to them. I should have something to say about how Missouri is won.
My name is Francis Minor and Virginia Minor and I have been married for 30 years. Our son died in a shooting accident several years ago. I have owned a farm and have practiced law in St. Louis for a long time. I have joined my wife, Virginia, as plaintiff in this lawsuit because as a married woman, she is not allowed by the state of Missouri to bring this case herself. I believe very much in what she is doing, that women should have the right to vote.
In the fall of 1872, there was to be an election in Missouri and throughout the United States. Louis S. Grant, with his wife Julia, had a house in St. Louis and was running for a second term as President of the United States against Horace Greeley. On October 15th, Virginia Minor went to the election office in St. Louis and demanded to put on the list of registered voters.
My name is Reese Epperson. My job is to register people so that they can vote in the elections. I cannot allow Virginia Minor to register to vote because the law of the state of Missouri clearly says that only male citizens of the state are allowed to vote. I have only been doing my job.
Virginia and Francis Minor filed a lawsuit in the Circuit Court of St. Louis County. In 1873, the case was heard at the old courthouse in a room that is now the Park Library. judge hearing the case is believed to have been Horatio M. Jones. The lawyers made their cases by using written statements by the witness and legal arguments or briefs. A written discussion or judgment was made by the court. The script we are using is based upon the issues that were discussed in the trial at the old courthouse and in the later appeals that were made to the Supreme Court of Missouri and the Supreme Court of the United States.
All rise. The Circuit Court of St. Louis County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Horatio M. Jones presiding. You may be seated. Your clerk will call the next case.
Case number 23,934, Virginia Minor and Francis Linn, plaintiffs versus Reese Happersett, defendant.
Are the attorneys in this case ready?
Yes, Your Honor. John Crum and myself, John Henderson, on behalf of the plaintiffs, Virginia, Louisiana, Minor, and Francis Minor. Smith P. Gold, on behalf of the defendant, Reese Henderson, I am ready for the trial, Your Honor.
Very well. The clerk will swear in the jury.
Members of the jury will rise and raise their right hands. Do you swear as citizens of St. Louis County that you will reach the verdict based on only what you have heard in this court today?
I do.
You may be seated.
Are there any opening statements in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. Virginia, Louisiana, Minor, and her husband, Francis Minor, are bringing this case because the defendant did not allow her to register to vote in the state of Missouri. We will prove that the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution grants women the right to vote, and that the state of Missouri cannot take that right away. We ask that the defendant be ordered to register Virginia Minor to vote, and the damages of $10,000 will be rewarded to Mrs. Minor and her husband due to Happersett's action.
Mr. Henderson was simply doing his job. The law of the state of Missouri clearly says that only male citizens have the right to vote. I will show you, the jury, that the 14th Amendment was intended to make sure the negroes are citizens of the United States and does not apply to this case. Even if it did, voting does not have to be a part of being a citizen. Since women do not have the right to vote, Virginia Minor has no right to register. No damages should be awarded at all in this case.
The plaintiff will begin by calling the first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. We call Virginia Louisa Minor to the stand.
Virginia Louisa Minor to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Please be seated.
is your name?
Virginia Louisa Minor.
Where do you live?
I was born in Virginia, but I have lived here in St. Louis, Missouri for more than 20 years, long enough to be a citizen of the state of Missouri.
Please tell the court why you're bringing this case.
On October 15, 1872, I went to the election office and tried to register to vote. Mr. Happerson would not allow me to register. I am a citizen of the United States and of the state of Missouri, and I believe that I have the right to vote. I believe that the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution gives women the right to vote.
Thank you, Ms. Minor.
Does the defendant wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Minor, did the defendant say why he refused to register you to vote?
Mr. Happerson said that he could not register me because the state law of Missouri says that only male citizens have the right to vote.
And you, Mrs. Minor, are you a female citizen of Missouri, are you not?
Of course, but
That will be all, Mrs. Minor.
you may step down from the stand. Do the plaintiffs wish to call any more witnesses? Yes, Your Honor. We call Francis Minor to the stand.
Will Francis Martin please come to the stand?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So, go on. You may be seated.
What is your name, sir? Francis. Francis Minor. I am the husband of Virginia Minor.
Why are you involved in this case?
Since Virginia is a married woman, I have to join her as plaintiff in order for her to bring this case to court. I believe in my wife and what she is doing.
What is your occupation?
I am an attorney. I practice law here in St. Louis.
Why do you think your wife has the right to vote?
The state law of Missouri may only give me the right to vote, but the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution outlays the Missouri law. It says that anyone who is born in this country is a citizen, and no state can take away any part of being a citizen.
Thank you.
Does the defendant wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Minor, as an counterfeit yourself, wouldn't you say that the Supreme Court decided to, in the Dred Scott case, that Negro could not be a citizen of the United States?
Yes, that was part of the opinion of the court in that case.
Now, sir, the 14th Amendment came after the Civil War and the ending of slavery, did it not?
Yes, I did.
So wasn't the purpose of the amendment to make sure that Negroes would be citizens of the United States and to stop the state from taking any part of citizenship away from them?
That was part of the purpose. There is nothing in the amendment that says it is only for Negroes. It says that all persons born in this country are citizens.
Does the 14th Amendment say anything about voting being a part of being a citizen?
No, sir, it does not.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
The witness may step down from the stand. Do the plaintiffs have any more questions?
No, Your Honor, we will rest the case.
Very well. Does the plaintiff have any witnesses to testify in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. We call the defendant.
Will Reese Happersett come to the stand?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. What is your name and occupation, sir?
My name is Lisa Happerson. I register people to vote in St. Louis.
And what happened at your office on October 15, 1872?
Miss Virginia Minor came up to me and asked me that her name be added to the list of voters.
What did you do about her request?
My job is to decide whether or not someone has the right to vote according to the laws of the state of Missouri. Since the state's law say that only male citizens have the right to vote, I could not allow Miss Minor to register.
I have no more questions, Your Honor.
Do the plaintiffs wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, sir. What? Do you pay any taxes or votes in the state of Missouri?
Of course.
Don't you think that it's not fair that you have the right to vote and Virginia Minor over there does not?
That is how it's been and that's and that is how Missouri has decided it should be.
I have no more questions.
The witness may step down from the stand. Does the defendant have any more witnesses?
No, Your Honor. We rest our
No, Your Honor, we rest our case.
Are there any closing arguments?
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, a few years ago, the late President Abraham Lincoln said that the United States had a government. As the people by the people and live. Voting is the most important part of government by the people. According to the United States Constitution, says that all persons, not just men, born in this country or naturalized, are citizens. It also says that no state
Can take away any of the rights of citizenship. Since we all agree that Miss Minor is a citizen, she must have the right to vote. You must order Mr. Happerson to add her to the list of voters, since Mr. Happerson did not allow her to exercise her right to vote when the election last year. You also should award the plaintiffs, Virginia and Frances Minor, the sum of $10,000 in damages.
We do agree that Mrs. Minor is a citizen of Missouri and of the United States, but that had nothing to do with voting. Ever since and even before the United States became a country, each state has decided who has the right to vote and decided. States have decided how old someone should be before they can vote and how long they have to live there at times. They have also decided that people need to know how to read and write or own property before they can vote. The 14th Amendment does not give Virginia Minor the right to vote. Because voting has never been a part of being a citizen. Also, the 14th Amendment was written right after the Civil War. And clearly it was talking about the Negroes were freed from slavery. Since Missouri has decided to limit the right to vote for male citizens, Mr. Jefferson is not liable for any damages. You must find a verdict for the defendant, Lee Jefferson. Thank you.
Members of the jury, it's time for you to make your decision. If you believe that Mr. Haversack broke a law of the state of Missouri or the 14th Amendment, you should find the defendant liable for damages in the amount of $10,000. If you do not believe that Mr. Haversack broke any law, then you should find the defendant not liable.
We have now heard both sides that make their case, and the judge has given instructions to help the juries make its decision or verdict. It is now the jury's turn to discuss the case and deliberate. The will lead the juries out of the courtroom in a private room where they all will deliberate. Both will stand outside the jury room door until they have decided, and then lead the jury back to the courtroom. However, we want everyone to listen. The jury's deliberation. So our jury is wearing microphones. It is important to listen quietly so we hear their deliberation. In a real trial, someone who tries to influence the jury discussion, so discussion can be changed with the crime of the jury.
jury reached a verdict. Will the defendant reach Haversack please stand and face the jury? We, the jury, find in favor of the defendant, Ms. Haversack. Judgment is entered for the defendant and no damages will be awarded. The court is adjourned. All rise.
In the real 1873 trial before the Circuit Court of St. Louis County, which this group was based upon, Virginia Minor lost. She and Francis Minor appealed to the Supreme Court of the state of Missouri. This means asking a higher court to review a decision made by a lower court. The Missouri Supreme Court, also meeting at the old courthouse, affirmed or agreed with the decision made by the Circuit Court. Minors made a final appeal to the Supreme Court of the United States in Washington, D.C. Chief Justice Morrison Waite announced the opinion of the court on March 29, 1875.
Evan, tell me what to say. Say your name and say it.
The question presents in the case whether, since the adopted and enacted amendment, a woman who is a citizen of the United States and the state of Missouri is a voter in that state. Certainly, if the court is considered any question settled, this is why. Beginning unanimously of the opinion of the Constitution of the United States does not confer the right of suffrage upon anyone, we affirm the judgment.
By vote 9-0, the United States Supreme Court agreed that the United States Constitution, including the 14th Amendment, did not necessarily give women the right to vote. Each state had to make its own decision.
Although I lost the case, I wanted to keep up the fight. In the year 1879, I was elected president of the Missouri branch of the National Women's Suffrage Association. Within each state, women and men who agreed with us wrote books, pamphlets, gave speeches, and organized parades and marches, all saying that women should have the right to vote.
Virginia and I also felt that the United States Constitution should be changed so that women everywhere in this country should have the right to vote. With our lawyers, we helped write a new amendment that would give women this right.
Virginia Louisa Minor died in 1894, never having voted in the state of Missouri Congress. Thanks to her and the efforts of people like her, people slowly began to change their minds. One by one, the states beginning which women gave women the vote, finally in 1920. The 19th Amendment was added to the United States Constitution, and it gave women the right to vote throughout the country.
My name is Carson Bell. I am your fourth grade class. Would like to thank you for coming to watch our play. We hope you enjoyed the play. I would now like to introduce the cast. The narrator is Carson Turner. Virginia Minor is Lily Baker. Francis Minor is Layton Fisher. Reese Haversack is Ethan Graham. Linn is Landon Schultz. The clerk is Sophia Moore. John B. Henderson is Morgan Schultz. Smith P. Galt is Jonah Franken. John M. Crum is Anya Ackerson. The jury foreman is Braylee Mevier. Members of the jury are Jimmy Chastain, Aubrey Rainwater, Kylie Scholl, Kelly Fain, Mason Worley, Jackson Fernandez, and Allison Epps. Chief Justice Morris is Emily Greer. The ranger is Ariana Rolls. And the judge, Harold M. Jones, is myself. Please give everyone a round of applause for working hard and presenting this play. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you to our courtroom house. We have rehearsed a lot and learned the proceedings of the courtroom.
At this time, we ask that you silence all electronic devices so the enjoyment of others is not disturbed. We appreciate your attention during our performance. Thank you for coming.
Witnesses and evidence in an attempt to prove to the jury that the defendant committed the crime or crimes of which they are accused. The defense attorney tries to prove their client is wrongly accused by cross-examining witnesses and even providing witnesses of their own. After all of the evidence has been presented and court, and the judge has explained the law related to the judge's case to a jury. The members of the jury discuss the facts in the case and render a verdict if the defendant is guilty or not guilty of the charge in which they are accused.
Members of the jury, all rise. Raise your right hand. Members of the jury, do you swear to deliberate the verdict today based on evidence presented in the courtroom and only on evidence?
I do. This case is Miss Notice versus Trinity Gates. The defendant is accused of chewing gum in Miss Notice's classroom. Are the attorneys ready with their opening statements?
We are, Your Honor. We present evidence to show that the defendant, Trinity Gates, was chewing gum in the classroom, which the defendant knew to be against the school rules.
Your Honor, we believe there is not enough evidence to prove the defendant, Trinity Gates, was chewing gum.
Will the attorney for the school begin by calling your first witness?
We call Molly Bohan to the stand.
Molly Bohan, please come forward. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Molly Bohan?
Are you in Miss Notice's classroom at Linn Elementary?
Yes.
Did your school have a rule about chewing gum?
Yes, in September we were told that we could not chew gum in school.
Did you see Trinity Gates chew gum in class?
Yes, I did.
How close do you sit to the defendant?
I sit right next to her.
Thank you. No other question, Your Honor.
Would the attorney for the defense like to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Did the teacher ever catch you chew gum in school?
Not that I can remember.
Do other students chew gum in school?
Some of them do.
Have you ever seen any of your other classmates get caught chewing gum in school?
I've seen some of them.
Did you see the gum in the defendant's mouth?
I saw her mouth moving and it looked like she was chewing gum.
No further questions, Your Honor.
May we return to your seat. Does the plaintiff have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. We call the teacher to the stand.
Will Miss Notice please come to the stand? Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
Miss Morgan Noches,
Where do you teach?
at Elementary,
How long have you been teaching at that school?
6 years.
Please state the rule on gum chewing, the rule on chewing gum in school.
At the beginning of the school year, I told my students that they may not chew gum at school.
Is that a new rule or an old one?
The same rule has applied for many years.
Please tell the court what you saw on the day the defendant is accused of chewing gum.
I was grading papers while the children were doing an action. While the court
this the rapper that you saw fall to the floor by the defendant's witness?
It looks like the same rapper.
Your Honor, we ask that this gum wrapper be placed in evidence as exhibit number 1. What did you do next?
I reminded Trinity about the no gum chewing rule.
And then what happened?
She looked down at the desk, swallowed hard, and denied that she was chewing gum.
Did the defendant pick up the wrapper as you asked?
No, she did not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
To your knowledge, how many students in your class chew gum?
I'm sure almost all got chewed gum at one time or another.
How many students have you caught chewing gum?
Probably about half.
Do you chew gum?
Objection! That is not relevant.
Objection sustained.
Do other teachers chew gum?
Objection!
Sustained. The attorney for the defense may only ask questions relevant to the accused.
Did you actually see the defendant chew gum?
No, I just saw the wrapper fall to the floor.
From a distance, how could you tell it was a gum wrapper?
The defendant sits right in front of my desk. It was too easy to see that was a gum wrapper.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Nugis. You may return to your seat. Does the plaintiff have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor. We rest our case.
No. Very well. Does the defense have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. We call Ben Swan to the stand. Will Ben Swan please come forward to the stand? Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Please state your name for the record. Where do you go to school?
Linn Elementary?
Are you in Miss Nogis' class?
Yes.
Do you know about the gun rule at school?
Yes, a teacher told us a long time ago.
How close do you sit to the defendant?
I sit only one row away.
Did you see the defendant chewing gum?
No, she was not. She was not chewing gum. Her mouth was moving because she was talking.
Any further questions, Your Honor?
Does the plaintiff wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. If the defendant was talking to whom was she talking?
I could not tell.
Did you hear anyone else's voice?
No, everyone was doing their math sheets.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may return to your seat. Does the defense have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. We call the defendant to the stand.
Trinity.
Well, Trinity Gates, please come to the stand.
hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record. Did the teacher ever tell you the school rule on chewing gum?
Yes, but it was a long time ago.
Have other students gotten caught chewing gum in class?
I know some have got caught.
What type of gum do you chew?
Sugarless.
Why?
Because my dentist told me sugarless was better for my teeth.
Did you chew gum on the day Miss Mildred is accusing you of chewing gum?
No, I was not chewing gum. I was just talking.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the plaintiff wish to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. When you were talking in class, to whom were you talking?
Myself.
If you were not chewing gum, why was there a gum wrapper on the floor by your desk?
It fell out of my notebook.
Do you always keep empty gum wrappers in your notebook?
Only if I've been chewing gum, like after school, or when I'm doing my homework.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Does the defense have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor. We rest our case.
Are the attorneys ready with a closing argument?
We are, Your Honor. No witness testifies that they actually saw Trinity chewing gum. The evidence presented does not prove that the defendant was chewing gum in the classroom. It is based on selective facts, not on eyewitness testimony. No one saw the defendant chewing gum.
The defendant testified that the gum wrapper fell out of her notebook. At least one witness saw the defendant making train motions with her mouth. And the defendant testified that she only kept empty gum wrappers in her notebook if she has been chewing gum.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you must reach a verdict based on the evidence presented in this trial. If you are convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant chewed gum in class, you must return a verdict of guilty. If the evidence was not convincing, you must return a verdict of not guilty.
At this time of trial, the bailiff leads the jury out of the courtroom to a private room where they deliberate and discuss the evidence that has been presented. The bailiff stands outside the jury room door until they all agree on a verdict, then leads the jury back into the seats in the courtroom. However, we want everyone to be able to experience the deliberation process. Therefore, since this is only pretend and not a real case, that those who also remain in the courtroom can hear the process of the delivery. Let us please listen quietly so as not to disturb the jury.
Well, does anyone have anything they would like to say before we vote? Well, does anyone have anything they would like to say before we vote?
She is incorrect. No way she would be lying about that.
Trinity is guilty because she swallowed hard before answering the teacher.
She said she only chews gum while
home or while doing homework, she is not guilty. I say she is lying. She is so full of sass that she has to be guilty.
I agree. She is not guilty because she only chews gum at home.
Molly said she was chewing gum and she sits right next to her. Definitely guilty.
Ben said that she was not chewing gum. She was talking like always. Not guilty.
The defendant is not guilty because she said she only chewed sugarless, and the back is not true.
Okay, it is time to vote. Raise your right hand. Raise your hand if you believe she is guilty. Not guilty? That wraps it up. Let's get this done. Your Honor, we have reached a verdict.
Will the defendant please rise and face the jury? Now may we hear the verdict from the jury.
Your Honor, the jury finds the defendant guilty of chewing gum in class.
Trinity Gates, you have been found guilty of the charge of chewing gum in Miss Moses's classroom and are ordered by this court to eat your lunch with school principal for 1 week. Also, you are reprimanded by this court for being a litter bug, for not picking up your trash or your gum wrapper. You are further ordered to pick up litter on the schoolyard during all recesses for the next 2 school days. It is important for all people to take care of the environment. This court is adjourned.
All right.
You may be seated. We hope you enjoyed the bubblegum trial. It is the responsibility of each of us as a good civilization to follow the rules of our country and care for our environment. The National Park Service helps to protect the places that make America special. And we ask that you help by keeping your environment special as well. Look for ways to clean and protect America, whether at school, at home, or in a public place like the old courthouse.
Heavenly praise. And I'm Emily.
We would like to introduce
cast of love come to try you.
Please feel free to applaud these who are public actors and actresses at the end,
Including us. And that's
Mr. Logan Huckabee and Miss Allie Hackman.
Bailiff,
Mr. Albert Haskell.
clerk,
Miss Maya Petrie.
judge,
The Honorable Kendall Needham.
attorney for plaintiff,
Mr. Nathan Mueller.
plaintiff,
Miss Morgan Nilgis.
attorney for events,
Mr. Lee Back.
defendant,
Trinity Gates.
witness number 1,
Molly Brooklyn.
witness number 2,
Ben Swan.
ranger,
Miss Emily Bailey / me.
person of knowledge,
Mr. Ethan Butler.
narrator,
Canton Perry.
attorney for person,
Eleanor Morton.
member of all boards and jury,
Ethan Bartlett. Allie Hackman. Blaze Deach. Logan Huckabee. Ethan Needham. Noah Cardwell. Mason Walsh. Tyler Jones. Adeline Chapel. Kenton Perry. Landon Schultz. Ariana Wolves. Last but definitely not least, please give your attention to Noah Cardwell as she presents us with some final words.
Our play today was made possible by the National Park Service. This old courthouse program was designed to help introduce elementary students to courtroom proceedings. The program focuses on the fundamental concepts of rulemaking, point of view perception, critical thinking, decision making, and responsible behavior. In many ways, the school classroom is like the community. Rules of behavior are comparable to traffic regulations or community laws. We have intended for it to be serious and fun, and hope that you have enjoyed our performance. We want to thank you for your presence and for being such an outstanding audience.